Hello, this is Sky recording live from Twitch TV. We're had to finish off kind of quickly yesterday without things kind of resolving. Had kind of an emergency I had to attend to. I apologize. Won't happen. Hopefully, it won't happen again. But we're back and we're back in business here. So what we ran into yesterday. So I'm actually running on a new machine today. Kind of got my iMac set up. That's a bit more screen real estate. It's a bit faster than my other laptop. Not that my laptop is slow by any means, but this is just desktop grade speed. Our test still passed. I got everything running on here, so let's just do a quick build. And what I did is I ended up, we had this problem last time with the units being placed inverted, I suppose. So I'm going to rerun it and show you that I fixed it, and I'll show you how I actually fixed it. We're going to get our build going. So here we go. Here's our world again. So now we can pan around as before, but now when I click, they actually get placed in the world where we expect them to be. And so it wasn't too complicated of a fix, like by any means. It was super simple. It was just, oops. Let's not do that again. And the viewport, I actually needed to set the value to a negative value on the, wait a minute, that doesn't seem right. I'll do it in one spot. Oh yeah, okay, never mind, I was looking at the height. So yeah, we set our container to a negative value so that the container moves into the negative, so it looks like we're actually going to the positive. And then in our live game, I just needed to move the viewport in a different way. So now we're there. Test till pass. And so what we're going to do is we're actually going to continue on with our game world. And oh, there was another issue I had, which was injecting this. I wasn't thinking yesterday. The map singleton of doesn't call the object factory, so we always need a map value if we want to have init called implicitly. Either that, we have to call it explicitly. We'd rather have it implicitly. So this is what we end up with. It's not the most horrible thing ever. In fact, we could probably just shorten it by doing this. But either way, it doesn't save us a whole lot. If this became more unruly, we can change that. So, okay, let's continue on. So, we're going to go over to our world, and we have our game world. So all we did was we implemented this world to screen, screen to world. We've got a bit other things to deal with, which is actually like placing them in the world. If you look at the playground now, I'm actually still talking to. So I get the screen to world, and I actually just create wizard, and I place it straight into the middle layer. We don't want that. We're going to have the game world control that. In fact, we're going to need to abstract out the game unit as well, because we actually, in the game world, we actually place game objects. And so we want to make sure our game objects are being placed into a world point and not our what are they called? Visual objects, our views. So let's shut it down. Let's take a look at what we got going on here. I noticed that we actually shouldn't need this anymore. I thought about that last night. Can you believe it? Dreamed it up. Woke up in the middle of the night going, oh gosh, setting the scale, and I don't need to. I've got fewer things in the world to worry about. So um, first world problems. So there they go. They still work. Okay, so yeah, isn't that crazy? First world problems. You wake up in the middle of the night worried that you may have set your initial values when you didn't need to. Oh dear God. Oh, set. Anyways, let's continue on here. And what we're going to do is we're going to. Ooh, my life templates aren't working on this machine yet. So let's go here. And our life templates, I think. Ooh. Okay, so I think we have to put this in the context of hex. Oh, that was a bit excessive. So this one is put this in hex, hex, hex. So now we should be able to have our live template back in. And we do. Okay. So should add the unit to the game. Gives the game world. Let's see here. Add a specific world point. So what we're going to do is, I think the game world will likely be, so the game world interface will stay with the game engine, but the actual game world 2D, that's likely going to be extracted out and just be part of our game. So there's parts of this engine that are going to be just the game, and part of this is just going to be the engine that we can just reuse. And most of it we should be able to reuse. Like, we could probably reuse this game world with my specific implementation just fine. We could probably override a few things, but kind of in this context, we're going to kind of stick with the world for this game. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to inject the layer manager. And this is going to be a layer manager. And I did make a change to the injection settings. I thought we have a game world. So we could make this slightly more, yeah, here we go, the world. Generic. We could extend this and override this if we made this a getter and setter. But for now, I'm going to stick with this being specific to our game. It seems appropriate. So what we're going to do is on our init, we're going to save our, this is going to be a specific layer. So I'm going to remove playground. Game world, we're going to be playing with that. So in our world, we're going to have some specific layers, and this is the game objects. So we got to keep track of if we ever change this. We got to change our game world. Okay, so in our happy little world. So I'm going to call this game objects layer. And this is going to be a display no container. So things are starting to come together. I'm happy about it. Game objects layer equals layer manager layers. It's all kinds of layers. Get layer by name. Layer manager. Not layer manager. Layer names. And this is going to be game objects. Okay, so now that we added that, we actually need to mock it up. Alright, so we're going to call this the layer manager. All kinds of layers. I feel like Bob Ross too much. I had a friend of mine I was teaching how to code, and she would always tell me, "You're gonna Bob Ross me right now, aren't you?" It would make me mad, because I'm so serious about it. not trying to Bob Ross you. But might as well embrace it at this point. So in our game world, we're going to add our layer manager. And we're also going to layer manager, get layer by name, layer names. That's going to return a game objects. Probably going to change that sometime. In our happy little world, we'll change our game objects. We're going to change our layer. We're going to add our layer, which is our game layer. So we got our game layer, and yeah. Oh, okay. So get layer by name returns our game layer. Think you're safe. Okay. I'm gonna stand like this. Alright, I'll turn the screen. Now we can look outside. Alright, lots of stories going on back here. That's what happens when you live cast. Okay, so we're doing it live. We're doing it super live right now. It's more live than ever. 20% more live than the leading brand of live. So we've got our layer here, passing it in. And we're going to test the add game object. So what we're going to do is we're going to create a game object. And we're going to go with entity. So we got a lot of getters and setters we're going to have to mock out. So I'm going to do this. I'm going to just create a directory called mocks. I tried to work out the Mockatoo thing yesterday, getting the latest. Didn't work out at all, so we just have to stick with this for now. This longer way of creating things. So we're going to call it mock world entity, or mock game object. Yeah, sure, why not? Okay, package, mocks, class, mock, game, object. This is always a good practice too. Create an object, or create a class without using the code generator. Because there's a lot of times you get used to the IDE generating code all the time, and you forget. Have you ever forgotten? I forgot once. And so that's not the right button. There we go. So it's always a good plan once in a while to make sure that you remember how things are created and whatnot. Set. So it's not the brightest in here. I don't know if anyone else can notice. It's pretty gloomy today. If you look outside, it is almost 8 in the morning in Seattle, and it's cloudy, and it's been raining, and it's been awesome. I moved to Seattle to be in the rain, which is not a popular opinion, apparently, but I love it. Love the rain. I really sound like Bob Ross today, I swear. Alright, function, public function. That's not good. Alright. Okay. so that's in place. All of our getters and setters. I think that's all we need. Oh no, we need to have the isVar. Let's get it a quicker way. Okay, so we're gonna do place that public to at isVar public. Okay, that'll do it. So we now have a mock game object that we can mock out. So var game object. No, we have to use the mock game object. Mock game object. Game object. And then we need our world points. X is going to be that, and Y is going to be that. Okay. So this is a respective to our viewport. The world point, no matter where our viewport is, it's always going to be placed at those locations. And that's a good thing. So that we don't have to worry about parts of the world not being placed and this player looking at it. That's kind of ridiculous. So game world, add game object, game object, and order point. And finally, we're going to do an assertion here. I'm going to say the game layer, add child, game object, verify, oops, once, and then we need the game object, set X to 83, verify, and the Y. Let's do it. And we have a bunch of yelling going on. How did we do this in the past? Did we mock? We actually just used extra display node, which we don't want. So let's mock it up. Mock display node container. Yes. Package mocks class mock display node container. Implements display node container. There we go. Just filling in the box. There we go. Move this up. There we go. Okay. I'm going to take these guys and we're going to replace colon with get set colon base. There we go. And then we're going to replace public with edge is var public. Okay. Setter. Filling in the gaps. Oops. Okay. Mock display node containers in place. We got our game object in place. And now we need our mock display node container. Mock display node container. And there we have it. We're getting ready to go here. Alright, so we should be able to run our tests. And we have a error. I'm on 30. We don't actually add the game object. We need the game object, and it's the display. Somewhere here. I thought there was bounds, no? Thought game object. There's not. So it's clever. So we don't actually expose the view in the game object, which I think is good. Let me think about this. I think I like that idea of not knowing the world entities display, but on the flip side, how else will I know it? So here, this is what I was thinking of, get display by game object. So what we could do, this could be kind of clever, as we don't actually add the child. So what this is going to do, yeah, I like this idea. Let's fix this, returns. Oh no, this is not mocked. Okay, what we're going to do is we're actually going to inject the object creator here. Oops. Here, object creator. Okay. And then object creator we're going to need to inject it here. Inject it into our little world. Okay. So what's going to happen is that when we pass in the game object, we're going to create a display associated with it, and then add that display. So that the display is actually controlled by the game world, which I'm actually pretty okay with. We're going to extract this out of here too. Let's go. viewport.pax. There we go. Always making improvements. Package mocks. If there is anything else in here, viewport, display node. Okay, so that's cleaner. And so now our object creator, we need to create a display. I think the only thing I don't like about this is the GameView has a lot of knowledge about how the display, the game world, works. So we'll probably create some sort of unit factory, or like an entity factory. And that'll, when we pull an entity based on a type, maybe? Thinking through this, because the reason we want an entity factory to pass it a type, game object type, then the entity factory is more aware. That's what we're going to do. So we're going to create a entity factory. Where are we at? We're in the might create a package called units. We'll call this a world entity factory. Ka-chow. Alright. This extends base object. Okay, and then we're just going to say thinking through this. Function create view for entity. And we're going to give it a world entity. That's going to give us a display node. I think that'll do what we need. Create view for entity. And so that gets buried into our view, so no one else is aware of it. I think that'll do the trick. I think that'll do it. Okay, so we need to add one more thing. Viewport needs to be imported. So we don't need the object creator anymore. We're going to use this entity factory, our entity factory, world entity factory. Entity factory. Entity factory equals mock entity factory, and then we need to inject that into our game world class here. So, working through it, so our entity factory okay, and so that's injected, so we need to go to our tests. It's here. So we're going to game world. Entity factory equals entity factory. Entity factory, create view for entity. We're going to create a display. Display node container. So we're going to pass in the game object. And we're going to return our display. Have a good day. Okay. She's camera shy. Alright, so I think this will do it. So we add our game world and then it adds to our display. Straight back out here. So I think that our test is ready. So most of this was just getting the setup in place, and I think we got it now. So 130H, it should be a add game object. Oops. Put this in order, game object, and then we add the display. So here we see that addChild was not invoked, which is great because we didn't actually add it to it yet. So add game object, and our display node equals entity factory game object. Come on. And so we have that. So we do display. So we need to set a display as well. So we're going to say display set x 83, and our display set y 347, verify. There we go. So I don't need this open anymore. Display x equals world point x, and our game object dot x is equal to that y. We lose the keyboard here. There we go. Y. And then lastly, we're gonna have our game object layer. addChild, the display. I think that is everything we need. Let's do it. This has no field y0, of course it doesn't. And the set x set to 83 was not set. Hard time believing that. So I'm going to make sure that Hex supports that sort of thing. No. Let's see here. I wonder why. Let's look back here. We've got a display. So I'm going to set this back to what it was. I'm pretty sure it supports that. Shut that down. So let's look at our test. We pass in our world point and a game object. We pass this, the game object returns our display that we've mocked. Put this down here for clarity. So there's our mocking. There's our expectations. Those are verifications. What do you think? What do you think is going on here? The X and the Y aren't being set. I wonder if this is going to do anything. So even that's not set. I wonder if we could do this. Do some debugging here. Display set X cast a calls function args y trace args 0. So it's 0. So what's going on here? Trace point X. Weird. So according to the world point that we're passing in, world point X oh, crazy. That is really weird. That is crazy weird. So it's saying that when we pass in the world point, that the value is lost? Wow, this is something new every day. Wow. Wow, 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 wow. I'm lost for words on that one. Yep. There it is. Named it something different because of the member variable. And so it's still saying mock object, mocked game object, set X. So I wonder if this isn't working. World peas. World peas. Yeah. So it's silly with that. Get rid of this one, not anymore. Okay, so now we know. Boom. Should pass. And it does. Okay, so continuing on. Should. So we need to do, so should move display to desired location. And what we're going to do, I'm going to set up everything basically the same. Like this. We don't need our verifies yet. So we add that, and then we're going to say you don't need to verify that happens. Game world, move item to, game object. So what we're going to do is we're going to set our new world point to something else, and it should go there. So we're going to say 23 and 47 to the new world point. So now this would all verify. 47, 23, 47, fail. Come on, fail. So now, what we need to do is we need to get the display, which we can't because it's up here. Not a problem. Not a problem. Don't you worry. We have game objects. Not a problem. So make sure we initialize our game objects. Equals a new list of game objects. Don't you worry. Don't you worry. I have a vision. And the vision is not real. Okay, so here I'm going to say, actually, you know what? We don't have game objects. We do need to keep track of our game objects, though. So we need to do an assertion. Assert are equal game object game world game objects pop. So that should still pass that. That will fail for sure. But what we need to do is we're going to create a map, which is object to display map. So we're going to have game object. Is game object the right choice here? It is not the right choice. Is not the right choice. Okay, we'll fix that. Because we have to fix it in our interface. The reason it's not the right choice is that we can only place things that are sort of interactive. So an entity is anything that's what could live in the world. So that'd either be a tree or a rock or a building. Our game object is actually something that actually you can interact with. So let's make that our documentation here. Is an object that can be interacted with. So it's like a warrior unit or something like that. And that might change. And it probably will. That's okay. So, object to display map. We can change the interface, don't worry. We have our game objects. We're going to have our object to display map equals new map. And it's a game object. So we can map our displays to our game objects. So here, we had our displays, so game objects, add game object, and then we need to do our object to display map, set our game object to our display. So now we can look up our display. And now, when we move our item, we can say var display node equals our object to display map, get our item if the display is not equal to null, we're going to set everything. So we're going to create a nice convenient function here, which is set display and game object location. There's going to be x float, y float, float 32 by 4. Just did it anyways. Okay. I'm going to inline this so that we get some performance out of it, and we'll need our display, which I forgot. Display node. Okay. And we'll need a game object. And this is going to be a world point. There we go. So now, delete this, set display and game object location, game object, display, world point. There we go. There we go. There we go, there we go. Alright. Of course it's not. I didn't want it. Line 74. Oh. Item. I'm going to change this to game object. No. That was a bit too aggressive. Editor. There we go. We should be able to see our passing tests. How about that? We're passing tests. So, a couple things we need to keep track of is we make sure we don't want to add a null game object to these things, especially to this one. In fact, we should probably check to see this, if that returns a null, that we don't break as well. But in the meantime, let's do our last step. Let's clean up our interface a bit, because I don't like this adding game objects. I want to add a world entity. So that or just stick with entities for now. Okay, and then we need to update here, which is where we see game object, colon game object. I'm going to change it to colon world entity. And I'm going to change that one. If you want to change. Build, run our tests, and line 74. Okay, that's good. 74. have a lot of strange naming now. It's okay. This is all part of the process. It's all part of the process. Gotta make things, always making improvements to our code. Always. If you're not making improvements to your code, it's just gonna go crazy. That's just the nature of software development. Is software will always become more chaotic. And it's up to you as the dev to keep it under control. That's why we're writing tests. You may not agree with tests, but what sort of scientist doesn't write tests? That's my philosophy. So, we've just added a lot of kind of small things here. Well, they're not small, they're actually huge. They just look small. We're just setting our world up to have things inside of it. We'll get there. We're getting closer. So once we get this game world in place, we can start putting in bigger and bigger pieces, one step at a time. We're going to optimize that. This is already there, and our game should still run. Make sure it is. It's all part of the process. There we go. Game still works. Shouldn't be a huge surprise because we didn't actually change any major things there. So let's get committed. Added continued our work. Did our work on the game world. There we have it. And then we're going to git push Skylar master, git push origin now, isn't it? Sure is. Okay. And then git tag 2016 0322 at 8:30 Seattle time. Git push origin there, and we should have our GitHub reflect that. Yes. Ooh, 415. Did I type that wrong? Darn, I must have typed something wrong years ago. Bummer. That's wrong. Okay. Might have to rename that tag later. Okay, so there we go. Our game world is being continued on. Alright, you guys have a great afternoon, whatever day it is in your world, in my world, and I don't know what day it is either. So, go ahead and watch this on YouTube if you want some history on this, and we'll see you tomorrow. You guys have a great day.